Hello, and welcome to the Marc Baxter Show, where empowerment is unlimited. Can you believe it, people? We're at show number 10, and it hasn't even been a year yet. But thanks to you and all of the support, we're striving harder than ever, and the responses have been great. Today, we're going to talk about being an independent thinker. Are you an independent thinker? Here's the test. It's hard to measure whether or not you're an independent thinker when you're in the confines and the boundaries of society. Now, granted, you have to adhere to the rules of society. It's the world we live in. But in order to truly maximize your potential, you have to have an exit plan. You have to have some type of strategy and plan to eventually become financially independent and also have some type of autonomy and control of your time. You can't do that by only adhering to the rules of society. What that will do is have you trapped in something called the rat race. If you want to learn more about the rat race, it's a great book out. It's been out for several years, decades in fact, by Robert Kiyosaki. It's called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I read that book maybe 15 years ago, totally changed my life. Now, people like Bill Gates, they studied and were respectable to the rules of society, but yet they had an exit plan. See, Bill Gates actually dropped out of college. Presently, he's one of the richest people in the world. Les Brown, a world-renowned motivational speaker, has a learning disability. In fact, he never even went to college. So here's the question. What if your skills don't fit into the confines of society? Do you just accept it? It's almost like wanting to buy a house, but yet you don't have the credit or the money to buy the house. So you have to roommate with someone else in an apartment. So here's the question for you. Do you just stay in that apartment and accept it and forget about the house that you wanted? Or do you live in the apartment and continue to work towards getting a house? That's what you have to do in society. It's not easy, but it's necessary. Not to mention that this is the same society that allows 2% of the population to control 80% of the money. That's not fair. Of course it's not fair. But what are you going to do about it? See, when you're stuck in a rat race, you can't access that 2%. So let me give you a math equation that gives you a picture of what that means. If you're in a room with 100 people and you have to split $1,000, well, 2 people is just going to stand up and take 800 of it and leave the rest 98 to split $200. Wow. It's not enough to split. That's what happened to the people that get stuck in a rat race. I don't care if you're PhD, master's level, bachelor's level. If you're stuck in a rat race, that's only half the battle. You have to continue to maximize and develop yourself. You have to be an independent thinker. You have to be like Greg Broomer, our guest today, who's definitely defined himself and exemplified what an independent thinker is. So without further ado, let's welcome Greg Broomer to the Marc Baxter Show, where empowerment is unlimited. Greg Broomer, a pleasure. Thanks for being a part of the Marc Baxter Show experience.
Thanks a lot, Mark. It's truly a pleasure to be here. Thanks a lot for having me.
Absolutely. I guess we'll jump right into it. What's your career? What do you do for a living?
Well, I'm in financial services, and I'm a partner with New York Life.
Okay. What actually does that mean, a partner with New York Life?
Okay. As a partner, my job is the selection and the development of career-minded sales individuals.
Okay.
So when I first got introduced to financial services, it was actually by accident. I started off wanting to be an attorney. Worked at a law firm for about close to 8 years and was very fascinated with the energy of getting in front of people and, solving problems. And, for me, anyone that knows me, I have a saying, like anything more than, 4 sentences is worth a phone call. Okay. So that was an indication for me that, being an attorney may not be the best career choice and career path. So I was introduced to financial services. I began my career at Merrill Lynch. However, I took more to the risk management side of the business and got into the business, had very early success. And, 7 years later, I found myself in a position where I can introduce more career-minded sales individuals to this career opportunity.
Did your home and environment growing up help prepare you for your position now?
I think that's a loaded question, actually, and I would say it did prepare me for my career path, because it was just challenges. Okay. And it wasn't necessary. I grew up in a two-parent household, of course. My dad was around, my mother was around. However, if you look at my sister, my brother, I probably was the one that had the least amount of academic ability.
Okay.
So I faced a lot of challenges growing up. I had a lot of energy, and at that particular time, of course, being young, you don't know how to channel that energy.
Right.
So I had a lot of challenges, but what it did teach me was it taught me to I was introduced to failure a lot, and I had to learn very, very quickly that failure wasn't necessarily a setback. And I dealt with the embarrassment and just constantly coming up short, and and this is at a young at a young age. I'm talking about maybe 11, 12 years old.
Wow.
I was retained twice, and I can say that now because I'm fully confident in the person that I've become, and I believe that I was introduced to failure for a reason, because individuals that know how to think on their feet and kind of dealt with some type of challenges, when they get put into a high pressure situation, right, they don't fold under pressure.
Absolutely. Because
they've been there, they know what they're made of mentally, and those type of things will help you kind of push through when you have no energy, and mentally, and all your physical resources just tell you that you shouldn't be where you are.
Absolutely. That's very commendable, because I'm gonna tell you a secret. I did read your profile in depth, and I saw a recommendation letter from the president of your university that you attended. So for you to say you've been retained twice in school, to reach that level, to get recommendation letters from the top official at the college that you attended, hey, kudos to you. I gotta shake your hand.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. Again, I've always been the kind of person where, like I said, I was energy. I had a lot of energy, so I played towards my strength. One of the things that I learned, I was in the Marine Corps for 6 years, and one of the things that I learned, remember I mentioned that I didn't have a lot of academic ability, but I had a lot of energy. Okay. So I had to put double the amount of time just to get an opportunity to compete. So, like for me, I focused on my strength. My strength was my energy. So I had to learn how to put that energy into the mathematics, into books, into reading. I struggled with reading when I was younger. And, I had to do things that helped me overcome my challenges. All I know is that I had a lot of energy, and I knew I wanted to be successful. I remember telling my mother that, I said, Mom, one day I'm going to do a lot of things that's going to affect a lot of people. It was just like that fire in the belly that you have inside. Right. That some guys, you can't quantify it. So I'm into sports. Right. So you'll look at certain players, certain athletes. Some guys are in sports just because they have athletic ability. Right. Some guys are in sports because they're supposed to be there. You look at Peyton Manning, Brett Favre. These guys got this look in their eyes that no matter what happens, no matter what the clock says, no matter how many touchdowns they're down, they're going to win. And they just got this uncanny ability to draw success to them. Right. And that's what I felt in my belly. Like, I didn't know what it was, but I knew deep down inside I had this seed growing. Mm-hmm. And I call it the monster and the beast, where it's a monster because if you feed it, it's just going to get hungry. So once you have your first taste of success, you want more. And it's a beast because you can never quench the hunger. You can never quench that thirst. It just grows and grows and grows. And a lot of it is that fear of failure. So it pushes you to do high activity, no matter what it is that you're doing in your business, whether it's working hard hours, whether it's, doing that extra rep inside the gym, mm-hmm. whether it's, studying hard if you're in college and you're studying for some type of specialty or some type of industry-wide designation, whether it's an attorney, a dentist, a doctor, a surgeon, whatever it is that you're preparing for, is that innate ability to kind of just will yourself towards whatever your end result was. And I experienced that at a young age.
It's excellent. The monster and the beast. So that's what I can call it now.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Do you totally understand life?
I don't understand. I don't think anyone ever totally understands life. I think life is an evolution. It's a progression. And I think the more you lose, the more you learn. And as you get older, the more things you lose. And you realize that life is all about you gaining things and losing things. And I think from your personal experiences, you learn how to just digress and self-analyze. I think a lot of people out there go through life and they never, look themselves in the mirror and give themselves a critical opinion of where they stand. And one of the things that I wanted to do, or that I do every day, is if I could look myself in the mirror at the end of the day and say, Greg, did you give it 120%? I can put my head down at night. I can go to sleep. I like to earn my sleep. And I just push. And I'm not saying that's the key to success, but it just works for Greg Broomer. And I learn about life. I learn about who I am. You can't change people you come in contact with. The only thing that you can do is change how you respond. So life is all about learning, whether it's professional relationships or social relationships. Everybody is searching to be accepted. Mm-hmm. And the only way you figure that out is, to experience different types of situations throughout the course of life.
Right. And those situations you may mention to learning a lot from failures and situations that didn't go so well.
Absolutely.
But what do you learn from your accomplishments and your strengths and your victories? What have you learned from that?
Just that I can do it. I think, it's funny because, I was on a lot different from you. I was on a football team that lost every game. And I would say, we probably won about 5 games since we played, but it was we learned about who we were. We learned our character and our identity from our losses. And my accomplishments, I think, is a direct reflection to how much I've lost. Because when I'm back inside that situation, I never was the type of person that say, oh, you know what, Mark, I'll never make that mistake again. Because it's my opinion, you don't know if you're going to make that mistake again until you're confronted with the same situation.
Right.
Make sense?
Makes a lot of sense.
So what I would do is just try to evaluate situations in the past and just take it, one day at a time. And if I accomplish something that was great, I thank God. I say, you know what, thank you for giving me the ability to do it. But at the same time, I realize that tomorrow's a new day. Right. So I don't live too much in that one accomplishment. I just try to say, okay, I've done that. Now in my business, you got to go back and do it all over again.
Do it all over again. You have to have a short memory, kind of like a cornerback in football, right? Or a jump shooter in basketball.
Absolutely.
All right, so we've established that you totally don't have a holistic grasp on life. There are some things that are unknown to you. So is it fair to say that life is cumulative, that everything counts?
Absolutely.
Okay. So if we establish that life is cumulative and everything counts, tell me an aspect of your life that you would like to have a do-over at.
Wow. You know what? I can honestly say I'm a faith-based man, and I believe that your Lord or whatever God it is that you serve, He puts things on your platter for a reason. And while my quote unquote success, if that's what you call it, because success is relative,
right,
is not what some would call a quantum leap. It's my efforts cumulatively today, good, bad, and indifferent. So if I go back and say, Mark, I want to do some things over, I may not be sitting here having this conversation with you right now. Right. So like if the Lord wanted to take me away today or tomorrow, there's not one thing I would want to go back and do differently, because it was all those things, good, bad, and indifferent, that shaped my character today. I can say I'm a man that has morals. I don't cheat, I don't lie, and I treat people the way I want people to treat me. And anybody that knows me will say that.
Excellent. Tell me, what does Greg Broomer fear? Who or what do you fear?
Wow. I fear the Lord, of course, but I fear people saying Greg Broomer had potential. Potential is a word that I believe is used very loosely, and in my mind, this is just my own personal opinion, potential is an excuse so individuals don't live up to their ability. It's an excuse to say, okay, wow, Mark had potential to be X, but there's always that but. So I don't use the word potential. I don't like it. And I don't want to be remembered as that guy that, oh, he could have been this if he just would have done X. Right. So I try, my biggest fear is that in some area of my life I'll fall, inadequate, whether it's as a father or in my responsibilities in my religion or in my business. So that like I said, that's the gift and the beast, man. That's the monster of it. It's going to eat you any way you look at it.
Right.
So success to someone else may not be success to that other person. It all depends on what you want out of life.
Okay. I agree with you on the potential thing.
Mm-hmm.
I often say that potential is only potential until it's mastered. So it's similar. You know, we both look at it as a cop-out. You know, you can't rest your head on it. You have to go to the next level. Then we can discuss the potential.
Absolutely.
Okay, so thinking about your social life,
Right.
are there any people that you purposefully try to avoid and not to socialize with?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
What types of people?
Negative Nellies, man. Negative Nellies, and I can deal with a complainer because a complainer just hasn't developed their mind yet. And to some degree, you know, I realize that, you know, I'm one of the few people in the world. So for instance, there's a very low retention rate in my business. 80% of the people don't make it. But when I was getting into the business, I never focused on that 80. I always considered myself one of that 20. So I always look at the glass half full, and speaking to those people that you talk about that who I would stay away from, there was a point in my life where I had to curve my enthusiasm on what I was doing in my career and in my personal life so that I made other people comfortable, so that I fit in. But I realized my ambitions weren't supposed to be fit in. So it's kind of like, you know, you take a slinky and you pull that slinky out. What happens? It's never going to go back to its original form because it's been stretched. And that's what happened to my mind once I started to get around people that were just doing some phenomenal things in life. I mean, phenomenal things. Things that most individuals don't understand because they got that feeling of entitlement to do just enough.
Good analogy with the slinky. Excellent. Okay, for the next few questions, I want you to answer true or false.
Okay.
To much is given, much is required.
True.
I don't have to work hard. It's all about who you know.
False.
Character is only important when you're not successful.
False.
Okay. This is a regular question.
Okay.
Is there an age limit to achieving success?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I heard a coach say, you don't have to wait to be great. Go do great things right now. And that's just something that just, you know, rings with me because it's so prevalent in my business where, you know, this business, I believe, is one of the most purest business that's around.
Right.
It's 100% geared towards helping individuals achieve their goals. And, you know, it doesn't matter if you've been in the business 10 years or you've been in the business 6 months. You can go out there and have the same level of success somebody who's been in the business 15. So I've always encouraged the individuals that I'm around, hey, listen, don't wait to be successful. Go out there and get it now.
Go out there and get it now. Good. What are some of your hobbies, Greg? I mean, you're this enthusiastic guy, and you're very successful in what you do,
Thank you.
and you didn't even have to tell me about the monster and the beast because I feel it as I sit here next to you. So what's your hobbies? How do you relax in your leisure time?
That's all a part of the monster and the beast. It really isn't. I mean, like, you know, like I box, I do taekwondo. It's that energy just never left. So what I had to, when I was a child, I was very aggressive, and sometimes that aggressive, you know, was directed in the wrong areas. So I had to learn how to channel that energy to the point where I was building up my body. So I work out a lot. I box. I like to spar. You know, I like to get in the ring. I like to sweat it out. I like to run. You know, I like to play football when I get an opportunity to go out there. So I like spending time with my daughter. So you know, I'm kind of it's tough because I'm one of those guys. I don't believe in balance. I think balance is overrated and it never happens. You're always, you know, doing a little bit more in one area. And you know, for me, when I wake up, the motor's on. You know, and that's no matter what I'm doing, all the way from, you know, working out to my business to, you know, when I'm out having a good time with my friends. So I'm always kind of like high level intense. I like that type of activity and doing those things.
Okay, that's fair. All right, now, looking at your pool of friends, think about the ones that you deem successful. Then I want you to ask yourself, does your successful friend share any type of characteristics? What are they?
Well, they're obviously hardworking. They're loyal, honest, and have a high level of integrity.
Okay. Are priorities important?
Absolutely.
Do you prioritize a lot?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I want to give you a priority test.
Okay.
I want you to prioritize the following words: family, religion, business, organizations, vacations, and friends.
Okay. I definitely would say religion is first. I'll say family, then business, organization, and then friends.
And then vacations.
I'll let you know where vacations.
Hey, well, after you handle your religion and your family and your business, and you got your friends in order, and your organization is all tight, it's time to dip out, time to take a vacay. So that's good.
Sometimes I need a little bit of help with that. If there's one deficiency that I would have, it's just, sometimes it's hard for me to pull away. It's just when you start something from nothing, from offspring, and it's just an idea, like you realize like time is of an essence, and you start to create habits that is not easily broken. Right. So that kind of goes into, it kind of double backs into that question when you say, how do you, like, what do you do with your successes? Well, you got that momentum going, and really you like success, that's great, but you want to take time, you want to acknowledge it because you're appreciative of it, but really you got to move on to the next thing. For me, it was like, okay, November was taken care of, I got to make money for December.
Right. Proactive.
Yeah.
Independent thinker. It's our theme for the show. That's why we appreciate you being here. So, Greg, when it's all said and done, what is Greg Broomer's legacy? How do you want to be remembered?
No, I want to be remembered as an individual that truly changed people's lives. And I believe that's a term that's used very loosely in this world today. But I really feel like I've been put on this earth to introduce this wonderful career opportunity to other individuals like me. Meaning, individuals that there's nothing wrong with wanting to make a six-figure salary and wanting to have financial independence for you and your family, being able to change that generational curse of just barely having enough.
Right.
And there's a lot of individuals with the ability to do it. However, it's the information. Are they privy to the information? So I want to be remembered as someone who just planted seeds in the individuals, helped them grow, helped them achieve their goals, and help a lot of people get to where they're going. I want my daughter to grow up and be proud of her dad. I want my mother to be able to walk with a smile and say, hey, listen, that's my son. And, people that know me, I want them to be able to feel my energy and say, you know what, that Greg is all right guy. He did a good job.
Hey, that's a tremendous interview, Greg, but let's tell the audience a little about your, the program, the opportunity, your business, and tell them who to contact if they want to be involved.
Okay, well, you can definitely contact me, Greg Broomer, 484-595-2414. I'm a partner with New York Life, and you don't necessarily have to have any experience in financial services. We have a training program that's second to none. We're a Fortune 100 company. We have the highest financial ratings from all major rating agencies, and we're just looking for individuals that are career-minded sales individuals. There's several type of people that do well in this business. There's those right off of the college campus. There's those individuals that are career changers where maybe they just want to reinvent themselves and they're looking for something different. And then there's individuals that have been successful in some other sales fashion one way or another. Our process is very comprehensive, and at the end of the day, we just want to make sure that we're going into business with individuals where it's a mutual fit, where you fit into our culture. I didn't have to change my personality to be here. I didn't have to change the person who I was to be here. And I believe that when you do that, it helps you grow your business that much faster. If you have talent, that's great. But what we want to do is find individuals that have talent and teach them how to develop that talent so that they're practicing their skills to get better. And I think that's what truly separates us from any other opportunity that's out there, because our opportunity is truly pure and that we're 100% invested in your success.
Hey, Greg, it's been a tremendous pleasure. Continued success to you.
Thank you very much, Mark. I appreciate it.
Greg Broomer has been a tremendous blessing to the Marc Baxter Show, and we thank him again for being a guest. Now, along with being an independent thinker, you have to also be an independent decision maker. Let me give you some advice. Just because someone is your friend or a family member, it doesn't qualify them to give you advice on important life issues. I could see if you could share the consequence with them when they give you bad advice and you're left picking up the pieces. But yet, you have to endure all the hardship on your own. So take my advice. If they haven't had success, or if they're not an example of whatever advice they're giving you, don't listen to them. That's just some advice from the Marc Baxter Show. Be smart, be wise, be an example, be a blessing to someone else during the holidays. Merry Christmas, happy holidays to you. And before we end, I want to give a special shout out to a good dear friend from the Temple University family, T. Lang Lloyd. We love you, T. We lost you, but we still keep a piece of you dear in our heart. TUMF, forever.